one of the most famous fighters of his generation, fighting in one of the famous stadiums in the world. Can you imagine being AJ right now? A lot of pressure too, though. Don't get it twisted. You've got to perform in front of 96,000 of your closest friends.
Mamma mia! Rosie, a social media sensation turned boxer, has turned the sport on its ear. This is incredible. And what must be going through this 27-year-old mind, like so many members of his generation, dealing with mental health issues? Here we go!
Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua has set off major debate across the boxing world, with most professionals confident that Joshua would dominate. Experts point to Joshua's size, power, Olympic background, and proven success against elite heavyweights as huge advantages. While Jake Paul has shown improvement, earning wins over MMA fighters and lower-tier boxers, he has never shared the ring with someone operating at Joshua's level. Analysts suggest Paul's only realistic hope will be landing an unexpected early punch, but they believe Joshua's jab, composure, and ring IQ would control the fight from the start. Many predict a one-sided stoppage in Joshua's favor within just a few rounds. Though the matchup draws attention as entertainment, boxing insiders overwhelmingly expect Joshua to win comfortably.
Nikisa, a few times on it. I mean, there's nothing to report to you that it's close, or there's a lot of hoops to jump through. Of course, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. We also work very closely with His Excellency, and although we have no contract with him, we're in talks for big fights next year. Of course, Tyson Fury being one of them. So we'd definitely give him the respect of making sure that he was aware of the plan and part of that plan as well. But at the moment, there's nothing major to report on that. Would we take the fight? Absolutely. I think Jake would be... my estimations of Jake Paul would go through the roof if he signs to fight Anthony Joshua, because I just can't believe in my mind that he would do something like that. Gervonta was a smart one because of his size. I think actually he would have had a lot of success against Jake Paul, but the size is a problem. But this would just be, if Jake Paul was to take the fight with AJ, you'd really have to maybe carry his balls in a wheelbarrow on the ring walk, because AJ wouldn't mess around in there, So it would be huge, but nothing to tell you it's close.
The showdown between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is officially locked in for December 19th, 2025. Taking place at the Casilla Center in Miami and streamed worldwide on Netflix. This won't be an exhibition or a promotional stunt. It's a fully sanctioned professional heavyweight fight under Queensberry rules. The bout is scheduled for 8 3-minute rounds, using 10-ounce gloves, with both fighters' official records at stake. Tio narrowed the physical gap. Joshua has agreed to come in at a contracted limit of 245 pounds, noticeably lighter than his usual fighting weight. With real rankings, reputations, and potential knockouts on the line, this matchup carries genuine high-stakes consequences for both men.
Really happening, Jake Paul will face the two-time unified heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua on Friday, December the 19th in Miami, Florida. It's going to be an 8-round fight with 3-minute rounds and 10-ounce gloves. It's Joshua's first fight since being knocked out by Daniel Dubois in September last year. Jake Paul won a unanimous decision against veteran Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. earlier this year. Well, Jake Paul said this: a professional heavyweight fight against an elite world champion in his prime. When I beat Anthony Joshua, every doubt disappears and no one can deny me the opportunity to fight for a world title. To all my haters, this is what you wanted. To the people of the United Kingdom.
The boxing world has been vocal about Jake Paul calling out Anthony Joshua. A large portion of fans and experts view Paul's ambition as unrealistic, arguing that stepping up to face a proven, elite heavyweight like Joshua is far beyond his current level. Many feel the move is overambitious and highlights the massive gap in experience, power, and ring IQ between the two fighters.
That's right, the real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again, I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, at Jake Paul is the truth. funny. They say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights. Then he asks for the toughest fights ever, and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh, crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind. You're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying? The co-founder of MVP and someone.
But Dave Allen issues a strong warning about the potential consequences for Anthony Joshua if he agrees to fight Jake Paul. In his view, even allowing Paul to land a single clean punch could damage Joshua's reputation and cast doubt on the legacy he has built. Allen argues that the matchup leans far more toward entertainment than true sport, and he questions whether Joshua would genuinely want to take on that level of reputational risk. He adds that many dedicated boxing fans would see the fight as a backward step, suggesting Joshua could lose respect within the boxing community for entertaining a bout with a YouTuber-turned-boxer like Paul.
Lost to Tommy Fury. Anthony Joshua cannot box Jake Paul. Horrific. He's dangerous for one, and two, if Jake Paul even lands a glove on him, it just diminishes everything that he's achieved. Jake Paul won't last 2 minutes for me. Never mind Anthony Joshua. It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
If AJ does say yes to going in against Jake Paul, does he harm his legacy?
I would lose a bit of respect for him, and I think a lot of boxing people would as well, to be honest. Why would he box him? 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, one of the best heavyweights the last 20 years, held British boxing on his back. People might say he deserves to box Jake Paul. But why though? Why would he do it?
Did you lose respect from when he fought Ngannou? Did you lose respect from Fury when he fought Ngannou?
Ngannou's a serious fighting man. World champion in the mixed martial arts.
It's a worrying thing, potentially, the damage that AJ could do to Jake Paul.
He'll hurt him. Yeah, Jake Paul is a cruiserweight. You wouldn't put the Midlands area cruiserweight champion in with Anthony Joshua, so why would you put Jake Paul in there? Just because he's a superstar, whatever. I don't know what he does. What does he do? What is he?
A YouTuber.
It's just not worth it. He's got enough money as it is. Why risk all that for a few more quid? I don't like it. I hope it.
With the fight expected to be sanctioned as an official bout rather than an exhibition, Roy Jones Jr. has pushed back on the growing narrative that Jake Paul could become a legitimate world champion. Jones openly questions Paul's ability to compete at the highest level, saying Paul has yet to face opponents with real, proven experience. According to Jones, once Paul steps in with elite, seasoned professionals, those fighters would handle him without much trouble. Jones does acknowledge that Paul might eventually be positioned for a title opportunity, but he believes it would only come under highly favorable or politically convenient circumstances. Overall, Roy Jones Jr. remains unconvinced that Jake Paul has the tools or resume to capture a meaningful world championship.
Will become a world champion? No. Why?
I think if they make him fight tough opponents, guys with experience, those guys will be. Now, if you catch somebody like myself at the end of their career, or somebody like Tyson, he caught at the end of their career, the chances are much higher. Because now it becomes over 50-50. You got a guy who's better than him, but the age factor. You understand me? And that's the only way to balance it for him to make it a 50-50 fight. Somebody who's on his level at the same age, those guys have too much experience. You understand me? So he's not going to beat those guys. But you find a guy who is past his prime, who has a mentality further than his, but past their prime, it kind of evens.
Anthony Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, has been openly critical of Jake Paul's boxing skills, describing him as no more than an average fighter. Hearn has consistently questioned whether Paul possesses the ability to compete anywhere near the top level, especially against a proven heavyweight like Joshua. While he acknowledges that Paul has made noticeable improvements, Hearn maintains that Paul is still far from the standard required to share a ring with true elite heavyweights.
Good for the sport of boxing.
Yes, I know these guys. They're unbelievably bright. I mean, Logan, much brighter than Jake, in my opinion. But Jake's smart. Okay. We have our ups and downs.
Yeah.
I respect Jake. I actually respect him in a boxing sense as well. But we fell out because I told him he was average. That's actually a compliment. Like, to be an average fighter, coming to this kid who's 26, 27, decides to go into boxing. We had a conversation where he's actually telling me he's going to beat Canelo Alvarez. And I'm looking around for cameras. And I'm thinking, am I mic'd up?
Eddie Hearn has also highlighted some of Jake Paul's more extreme statements, most notably Paul's claim that he could beat Canelo Alvarez. Hearn dismissed the idea entirely, calling it outrageous and a clear sign that Paul is drastically overestimating his own abilities. While Paul has picked up wins over former MMA stars and lower-level boxers, the suggestion that he's ready to compete with world-class talents like Canelo or Anthony Joshua is seen as unrealistic by most boxing analysts.
Well then, it looks like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul might be in discussions to fight. They were both on a call to each other earlier, and the viral video went round of Jake Paul saying he would knock out Anthony Joshua. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jake Paul would actually be lucky to make it out alive, and I'm actually being dead serious. I think Jake Paul would be lucky to make it out of the ring with Anthony Joshua alive. Tyron Woodley literally had Jake Paul on skates and had Jake Paul panicking for his life. Imagine what Anthony Joshua would do. Look at what Joshua did to the last non-boxer he fought in Francis Ngannou. That is not going to end well for Jake Paul. But look, let's be real here. This fight should never happen. It's an absolute disgrace to the sport if it does. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of backlash if this actually happens, because it's actually probably worse to the sport of boxing than what Fury and Ngannou was when it came around, or, or Mayweather McGregor.
Simon Jordan, former Crystal Palace owner and now a prominent voice in boxing media, has delivered a sharp warning regarding Jake Paul's proposed showdown with Anthony Joshua. Jordan argues that the matchup borders on undermining the sport itself, insisting Paul hasn't earned the legitimacy or skill level required to face a heavyweight of Joshua's caliber. In his view, the bout damages boxing's credibility, turning a high-level contest into little more than a spectacle. He predicts that Joshua would dismantle Paul with ease, calling the fight both dangerously one-sided for Paul and potentially damaging to Joshua's reputation.
Welfare, player welfare, he is in a situation where someone's welfare should be considered in the equation, not his financial welfare. But Jake Paul going into a fight with Anthony Joshua, to me, is absurd. I mean, Anthony Joshua is a legitimate two-time heavyweight champion of the world. He may have got destroyed by Daniel Dubois, but notwithstanding, there's nothing physically wrong with Anthony Joshua that he can't execute. Mentally, he might be in a little bit of a difficult position after the loss to Daniel Dubois. Jake Paul, if this is not going to be, curated into a little dance around exhibition, could find himself in a way of getting seriously hurt here, like Francis Ngannou did. Francis Ngannou was an MMA fighter that got blasted out by Anthony Joshua. A fitter, more focused Anthony Joshua than the version that we've got now, possibly. But this, to me, is everything that's wrong with boxing. It's a money play, nothing wrong. I don't begrudge Anthony Joshua getting 50 million quid for an easy night's work. That's fantastic returns. Most people would take it. But in the boxing world, Jake Paul is now a professional fighter. Whether we categorise him as a YouTuber or not, he's licensed to fight, which means that the governing body should be suggesting that this is not a fight that possibly they should be looking to sanction.
Yeah.
But they will, because the sanctioning fees will be enormous. Anthony Joshua will not lose his legacy like some people are suggesting, because no one will remember it in 2 or 3 years' time. If he embarrasses himself in there, they'll remember it. If he goes in and knocks him out in 30 seconds flat, or turns it into a little bit more of a sort of Jake LaMotta raging bull, holding him up for a few rounds and then knocking him out, then people will forgive it. He'll get a big bag of money, which most people in the world would take, and move on. And then we'll see if he fights anybody meaningful in the year. I mean, it is like sport has become. And what I got my head around on Saturday night was the entertainment value of Conor Benn and Chris Eubank. The fight in of itself, I could be all pious about it, but the entertainment industry is so prevalent in sport now. This is entertainment. This is going to have hundreds of millions of people watching it. Of course. And Anthony Joshua gets paid, and Jake Paul hopefully gets flattened.
Simon, I know the money's there, but does ultimately boxing get damaged?
Well, I think so. But I think boxing damages itself left, right and centre. But I think the reputability and the credibility of some of these boxing sanctioning bodies is poor anyway. But I think it does get damaged.
Even if it's an exhibition fight, which it might well be.
Well, then what's the jeopardy in that? If it's an exhibition fight, which it shouldn't be, if it's a proper fight, then Jake Paul is going to get demolished.
David Benavidez has acknowledged that Jake Paul is undeniably one of the biggest attention drawers in boxing, especially when it comes to generating hype and selling fights. While traditional boxing fans often question Paul's skill level, Benavidez notes that Paul's presence injects energy into the sport and creates major financial opportunities.
I'm Patricia DeWong, and I'm here with David Benavidez. What are you looking forward to the most tonight at Bare Knuckle?
Honestly, it's my first time being at a Bare Knuckle fight, and it's already started amazing. And I'm just here to come to see the gore, the blood, and all that. So it's been living up to the hype.
I want to ask you about Jake Paul Paul wanting to fight Anthony Joshua. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a good fight. If they can make it happen, then let's do it. You know what I mean? Jake Paul is a big household name. Anthony Joshua, needless to say, he's one of the greatest champions of boxing. So if they can get it done, that'll be a huge fight for boxing. And I said, let's do it.
You were in the talks to fight the Ball. What are your thoughts on that? Is it in the works? So when is it happening?
So right now we're trying to negotiate the fight. It might be in the works in September, but we don't know. You know, everything in boxing is not 100%. So we're just going to keep trying to negotiate the fight. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But that's
Veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora has strongly condemned the idea of Jake Paul receiving a WBC ranking, calling it an insult to the sport. Chisora argued that real fighters spend years battling their way up a ladder, while Paul, who has mostly faced non-ranked or past their prime opponents, will be elevated simply because of his fame. He also criticized WBC President Mauricio Suleiman for sacrificing integrity in favor of publicity, saying the move will be unfair and a disgrace to boxing. Chisora stressed that legitimate rankings must be earned through real competition, not handed out for attention or commercial gain.
See, have said they're going to give a cruiserweight ranking to the winner of this fight. Do you think they deserve one?
No, I don't think so. I don't know why. It's hard enough for real athletes, for real boxers to gain those rankings, and then suddenly this Solomon Souza decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his back pocket. No,
Lawrence Okolie has expressed serious concerns about a potential fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, highlighting significant safety risks. While Okolie has previously praised Paul's dedication and mindset during sparring sessions, he now views a bout with AJ, who possesses elite power and technique, as a dangerously uneven matchup. Many boxing professionals share this worry. Promoter Eddie Hearn described it as very dangerous. Frank Warren noted the physical mismatch, and former world champion Amir Khan warned that Paul could face severe harm if he steps into the ring with Joshua.
On this nonsense?
Where am I? I can't see it happening. I can't. Although yes, lots of money, so on and so forth. I can't see it. I just can't. It just obviously as someone who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake Paul, it doesn't sit. Yeah, and it's like I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it personally.
Former world champion Carl Froch has dismissed Jake Paul as a serious boxer. Froch argues that Paul lacks true boxing fundamentals, often moving around the ring without strategy. After observing Paul's bout against Tommy Fury, Froch labeled the fight a clear mismatch, emphasizing that Paul is far from being a legitimate contender in the sport.
Take Jake Paul, that's serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. He swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, there's just so much wrong. It's just everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defence. He telegraphs his punches. Like you put him in with someone his own size. It was a professional. And it's a mismatch, and you'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him. He's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him in terms of levels? He'd do well to win a British title. He's at that sort of level, and then from British title to world level, it's like different worlds. It's like totally different.
MMA fighter Darren Till has criticized Jake Paul for challenging Anthony Joshua, calling it disrespectful. Till argues that despite Paul's promotional skills, he hasn't earned the right to face one of boxing's top heavyweights. Many in the boxing world share the perspective, believing Paul is overreaching. Paul's bold claims about Joshua's abilities, questioning his chin and skill, have sparked backlash, especially considering Joshua's decorated career, multiple championships, and victories over elite opponents like Vladimir Klitschko and Alexander Usyk. Observers suggest Paul's comments are aimed more at attracting attention than reflecting genuine competitive intent.
Is it all just, does he actually believe that he can beat Anthony Joshua? Is it all for clout? Is it all just to keep his, I don't know. I mean, fucking, it's a little bit disrespectful as well. Like, Anthony Joshua hasn't fucking been a heavyweight world champion, beating all these absolute killers just to get called out by Jake Paul. But look, if Jake Paul believes in himself, then, you know, you can't really fault that. Like, obviously, but sometimes it comes across as a bit delusion as well. Because I know for a fact that I'd fight Jake, I'd beat him up easy. Not easy.
The proposed fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua has raised serious concerns about the integrity of boxing. Critics argue that such celebrity-driven matchups prioritize entertainment and big paydays over genuine competition, turning the sport into a spectacle rather than a test of elite athletic skill. By sanctioning high-profile mismatches with social media stars, boxing risks undermining its credibility and diluting the respect it holds among traditional fans. These events may attract attention, but many believe they come at the cost of the sport's long-term legitimacy.
Paul hopefully gets flattened.
Simon, I know the money's there, but does ultimately boxing get damaged?
Well, I think so. But I think boxing damages itself left, right and centre. But I think the reputability and the credibility of some of these boxing sanctioning bodies is poor anyway. But I think it does get damaged.
Even if it's an exhibition fight, which it might well be.
Well, then what's the jeopardy in that? If it's an exhibition fight, which it shouldn't be, if it's a proper fight, then Jake Paul is going...
So, do you think Jake Paul stepping up to Joshua is clever or just a massive gamble?